This is CBS.
In our headlines this noon, the negotiations continue to avert a strike by Twin Cities nurses. Debbie Ely will bring us a live report. A pipe bomb similar to the ones found earlier this week in Minnesota exploded in Milwaukee this morning. We'll get an update from a Milwaukee policeman.
An explosion at a news conference near the Costa Rican border has left 5 people dead, including an American journalist and a rebel leader wounded. And the search is over for that perfect little old lady from Pasadena. Those stories and more next on the Noon Report.
Switch on to savings during the Montgomery Ward Home Electronics Sale. Save $100 on this Atom computer system, complete with keyboard, memory module, and letter quality printer. Save $70 on this GE video cassette recorder with remote forward and reverse scan, pause, plus single frame advance. And save $100 on this 19-inch Montgomery Ward color portable TV. The Montgomery Ward Home Electronics Sale. Don't miss it.
Although they're better known in Europe and China than in America, we've got a great team going for the Olympic gold Thursday on PM Magazine. Meet the women of the United States volleyball team. Get a tour of an amazing 6-story, 24-karat gold-plated pyramid home. Steve Doyle takes a look at the fascinating curios stored in the Science Museum of Minnesota's basement. And get a taste of the high-tech candy of the 80s on PM Magazine. Thursday night at 6:30 on Channel 4. From WCCO Television, Minneapolis, St. Paul, this is the Noon Report. With Bill Carlson, Debbie Ely, Bud Kraling, and Tony Parker.
Good afternoon, everyone. The mediation continues today to try to resolve the contract dispute between 6,000 nurses in the Twin Cities and area hospitals.
Tony, the nurses are scheduled to walk off their jobs at 6:30 tomorrow morning if a settlement is not reached. Debbie Ely joins us now with an update on those negotiations. Debbie?
Good afternoon, Bill. The contract talks resumed about 9:30 this morning with the nurses meeting in one room and hospital representatives meeting in a room not far away. So far, there have been no face-to-face talks, but mediator Ed Larson says that face-to-face talks are not always a productive sign. Larson has been shuttling back and forth, but he told us that he is not that hopeful that a settlement will be reached. The nurses remain firm in their demands, job security demands. They want revised layoff and recall language where junior nurses would be affected by job action first. Also, they want laid-off nurses to be restored to pre-layoff hours before any new people are hired. The hospitals object to that. One of the busiest rooms in this building happens to be the Hennepin County Medical Society, where they are busy executing emergency physician credentialing as well as keeping track of some of the available bed space. Joining me right now is Lynn Gruber. She is the Executive Vice President of the Hennepin County Medical Society. There are a lot of misnomers about what a strike might mean to medical care.
Yes, I think people should know that physicians' offices will be open as normal and perhaps even extended hours in the evening. That if they have problems, they should really call their personal doctor first, and he or she will try to assist them in evaluating their problem. And if they need to be admitted to a hospital, that physician will take it upon himself to find a hospital bed for them.
What are you hearing about outlying hospitals as far as available bed space is concerned?
We are hearing from hospitals like Buffalo Memorial and Monticello Big Lake, Forest Lake, and there are beds available. So people may have to go a little bit further to get their hospital care, but care is available.
Lynn Gruber with the Hennepin County Medical Society, thank you for joining us. That's it for now. Bill, back to you.
Okay, Debbie, and we'll be standing by for further developments, of course. Thank you very much. A pipe bomb similar to the ones found in St. Cloud, Stillwater, and La Crosse this weekend exploded in downtown Milwaukee this morning, injuring a 22-year-old city employee who was picking up garbage in a downtown park. A second bomb was found a short time later in that same area. Police say a note found near the bomb that injured the worker indicated it may have been left by the same group that left the bombs in our area. The employee is hospitalized in stable condition. Police have an APB out for a suspect. Alan Cox is in Milwaukee. He'll have an update on our newscast later. Joining us now from Milwaukee is Deputy Inspector of Detectives Rudy Will of the Milwaukee Police Department. Are there any more developments, Inspector Will?
Not really. As you indicated, our people did find a device on our Civic Center Plaza about 8:12 this morning, and a city worker, 22 years of age, was injured. She received burns to her face and also complains of a headache and possible slight concussion. The device that ignited did not explode because apparently the suspect involved in this did not make it properly. What had happened was that there was a dollar bill attached to a alligator clip. When she removed the dollar bill, the alligator clip ignited the material inside the pipe bomb, causing this to propel and cause the burns to her face. Now, the second device that you spoke of was not a second device. Actually, it was this first device that hit a tree and then ricocheted about 25 feet away from the area where the incident occurred.
As previously, I'm sure that we are warning everyone to be on the lookout for such devices, whether they be fake, as in the case of one in the Twin Cities overnight, or real. We have to be aware of them in any case.
Right. You should be aware of this. Within the last half an hour, our detectives, our bomb squad, have been sent to a location in the 1000 block of North 3rd Street here in Milwaukee, where we have found a second type of this type of device. So we have found at least at a different location, which is approximately 1 mile from where the first one went off. So there are at least 2 devices here in Milwaukee, and as you indicated, if the citizens find any type of suspicious devices like this, they should notify their local police immediately.
Inspector Rudolph Will of the Milwaukee Police Department, thank you for being with us today. Minnesota officials are worried that more pipe bombs may turn up in our state this weekend. They're warning residents to be very careful. Last night, Columbia Heights police and fire officials were called to Maddy's bowling alley. The employees spotted what appeared to be a bomb similar to those found in the state last weekend. The center was evacuated, and bomb experts were called in to defuse the object. The bomb turned out to be a fake one with tissue stuffed inside a pipe and with wires running through it. Yesterday, Bureau of Criminal Apprehension officials put together their own replica of the bombs found in Minnesota and Wisconsin. The bombs are easily made and very dangerous. Residents are being warned not to touch suspicious-looking objects wrapped in cloth. Police should be called immediately if such objects are spotted. Officials say the pattern of the bomb incidents indicates a chance more bombs could turn up in the next few days. 14 people have been arrested in the Austin area following a 6-month undercover investigation into trafficking in drugs and stolen goods. 11 people are expected to be arraigned today on drug charges and 3 on felony counts. The suspects were arrested last night and early today. A large quantity of marijuana, LSD, amphetamines, and cocaine were seized. Stolen property estimated at $100,000 was also recovered. Tony?
Bill, a bomb exploded last night near the Costa Rican border during a news conference held by Nicaraguan rebel leader Eden Pastora. 5 people were killed in the apparent assassination attempt, including an American journalist. At least 28 more are injured. One of Pastora's relatives says the leader was wounded in the heel. He's reportedly okay. The American journalist killed was Linda Frazier, a reporter for a newspaper in Costa Rica, and the wife of Associated Press Central American correspondent Joseph Frazier. One of the reporters injured in the bombing talked to CBS News this morning from his hospital bed.
We had only just arrived, had greeted Pastora, and were beginning to talk to him when the bomb went off. It was not shell fire. I am reasonably confident that the bomb had been planted.
The president of the International Olympic Committee says there's no hope the Soviets will come to the Summer Olympic Games. Juan Antonio Samaranch is on his way home after his negotiating session that appears to be unsuccessful. David Andelman reports.
To start, his Soviet hosts were impeccably courteous, but it was not courtesy the president of the International Olympic Committee was seeking. It was a Soviet change of heart. And that clearly is where the Soviets drew the line. Juan Antonio Samaranch presenting a letter, a last-ditch appeal to salvage the Olympic Games. He was hoping to present the letter to Soviet President Konstantin Chernenko himself. But the reality fell considerably short. A Kremlin meeting, but with one of 11 deputy prime ministers, way down the protocol ranking. But Samaranch never had any real illusions. One-time Spanish ambassador to Moscow, he knows the Soviets well. Their minds once made up, there's no turning back. Samaranch had offered to extend Saturday's filing deadline for the Los Angeles Games should the Soviets give any encouragement. Today, it's clear no extension will be necessary. The Soviets received Samaranch well, sending a message to him and to the sporting world. We'll be back for the '88 games. It's President Reagan's '84 Olympics we're trying to spoil. David Andelman, CBS News, Moscow.
Kuwait is now asking the United States to sell its Stinger anti-aircraft missiles as protection from attacks in the continuing Gulf War. Officials in Kuwait say they want to use the missiles for the same purpose as Saudi Arabia, to keep shipping lanes open in the Persian Gulf. The request is being considered by the Defense Department.
Walter Mondale will spend next Tuesday here in Minnesota awaiting returns from 5 critical primaries: California, New Jersey, New Mexico, South Dakota, and West Virginia. Mondale officials say it's traditional for their candidate to be at home with Minnesotans on important occasions. Gary Hart and Walter Mondale will appear at a fundraiser in Los Angeles tonight to help pay off George McGovern's campaign debts, but Jesse Jackson won't be there due to his problems with being denied delegates. Still to come in the Noon Report, the final part of our series on Norman Mastrian.
We've got what it takes, True Value.
Save now on their bargain of the month. In June, it's this True Value wide mouth gallon jug, just $3.99. The wide mouth opening is easy to fill, plus the spout and handy bottom finger grip help prevent spills. During June, get the True Value wide mouth gallon jug for just $3.99. Look for the bargain of the month banner at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
Sophisticated, uncomplicated, jungle hots, forget-me-nots, short, sassy, very classy, bold lines, pure designs, wild, daring, shoulder-bearing, flash, panache, simplicity, and how. Baby, look at us now. Look at the Simplicity pattern book at Minnesota Fabrics.
Wix Furniture announces a sale on all our chairs and recliners, so you better sit up and take notice. Choose from our huge array of comfortable special purchase chairs and recliners. Regularly $299 to $399, now they're just $199.88. Then you'll be sitting pretty because you'll have saved $100 to $200. All chairs and recliners on sale now through Monday night. Nice. Wix, surprisingly Wix, where you'll get more than you pay for.
When we close this box, we've made our best. So when you open this box, you enjoy the best. Hot, fresh pizza delivered to you in 30 minutes or less. Because Domino's Pizza delivers.
Despite his plea of innocence, Norman Mastrian was convicted of hiring the man who brutally killed Carol Thompson. He served a 20-year sentence before his release last year, and during his stay at Stillwater, Mastrian became one of the state's best remembered and most influential convicts. Dave Nimmer and Doug Stone deal with his prison experience in this final part of the Mastrian story.
In his life on the outside, Norman Mastrian was pictured by authorities as a tough, streetwise hoodlum who bristled over authority. But following his conviction, that picture was going to change, at least in the opinion of the authorities who ran the prison.
When Norman Mastrian first walked through the doors of Stillwater State Prison here some 20 years ago, he quickly developed a philosophy different from many. Mastrian, in prison parlance, was a convict rather than an inmate. An inmate does time. A convict does his own time, that is, makes constructive use of that time. And Norman Mastrian spent a lot of that time developing both his body and his mind.
There's a significant percentage of people who come to prison and spend the majority of the time ruminating and telling war stories about all the fine ladies they had and all the sets of wheels and the drugs they were into and the fantastic scores they made here and there. And he wasn't into that.
What Mastrian was into was reading, working out, writing, and minding his own business. But that's not to say the adjustment was easy, not for a college graduate with an IQ of 160.
So I'd lay awake all night, trying to figure out how this had happened. Worrying about my children, thinking about my parents. But the human organism is remarkably adaptable. And you adjust, you survive.
In fact, Mastrian did more than survive inside these walls. He was the editor of the prison paper, left the institution on assignments, and even managed to do a little creative smuggling to satisfy his taste for fine food.
We were beating the prison. We wanted steaks, and I had friends in the butcher shop and in the bakery and in the kitchen. I worked in the prison bakery myself for 6 years. And prison fare, while it's nutritious enough to keep you alive, didn't suit the taste of some of myself and some of my gourmet friends.
Mastrian and his gourmet friends were an older, more conservative breed of convict, one he claims is disappearing.
When I first went to prison, it was very clean, it was very quiet, and prisoners had some honor and some principles, if that may seem strange to you. Nobody had to close their cell door. You could put a pack of cigarettes down on a table, and 2 weeks later it'd still be there because it belonged to another convict, and convicts didn't do anything to hurt another convict.
Someone as bright as Mastrian can't do 20 years without developing some opinions on how the prison system should run. First is the elimination of drugs. Next is firm and consistent prison discipline. And finally is the establishment of smaller prisons where inmate predators can be controlled. But all of this is a part of an earlier chapter in his life's book. At the age of 60, Norman Mastrian remains a fascinating man, the mention of whose name still conjures up rumors and loathsome opinions from area cops. A killer or a wrong man? All we know for sure is what a jury said. And we also know he's free to pursue life as he chooses. And 21 years later, maybe that makes the question of guilt or innocence seem less important. With Doug Stone, I'm Dave Nimmer, WCCO Television News in the Twin Cities.
Reporters Stone and Nimmer wish to thank the St. Paul Pioneer Press and Dispatch for allowing them to use the excellent pictures of the investigation and the trials. For those who are interested, T. Eugene Thompson declined to be interviewed about the crime. Thompson lives and works in the Twin Cities. And Dick W.C. Anderson is living now in the Pacific Northwest.
Bill, new figures released today show the index of leading indicators has resumed its upward trend after a single month of decline. The government's main gauge of future economic activity rose 0.5 percentage point in April, contrasted with a revised decline of 1% in March. Well, at this noon hour, the Dow Jones stock averages are as thus: industrials up just over 1.5 points, transportation's up by almost 1/4 point, and utilities down by just under 0.5 point. A week of record rain that has already killed 17 people forces thousands more people from their homes today. Highways were virtually impassable in many areas, schools were closed, and volunteers worked to try to build dikes to protect their communities. The National Guard is on alert in Connecticut, where hundreds of people have been evacuated. Bud will be along with our forecast next.
You're looking at something unique because inside this bean is baked-in homemade taste. It's a B&M baked bean, and only B&M beans are baked in a thick, rich brown sugar sauce in a real brick oven for 7 hours. It takes that long to bake our homemade taste into every bean. And if you want more homemade taste than that, just have a whole serving. B&M, baked in homemade taste in every bean.
Thus, today we prepare ground beef.
Where's the A1 steak sauce?
A1, that's for steak.
That's the whole idea. There is steak in ground beef. A1's herbs and spices bring out its great flavor. A1 makes ground beef taste like ground steak. Just mix 3 tablespoons into every pound for juicy, tastier hamburgers that are really delicious.
The A1 difference.
Class? A1 makes ground beef taste like ground steak.
You know, this kills me. This new eyeworks place says that you can get a complete eye exam and new glasses in only a few hours. What's the big hurry? They say they have over 4,000 different frames. How many does a person need? And this really kills me. They say they got a computer that figures out which frames look best on your face. What's so hard about that? I picked these.
Come to the Eyeworks.
Now there's a better way to take care of your eyes.
I'm going to lose all my customers to Sam Cunningham.
But, George, you always give good service. Now, why should your customers suddenly start running across the street to Cunningham?
Because of this. He's passing these out all over the neighborhood. Bring your clothes to Cunningham, your bicentennial Uncle Sam.
You've got to fight fire with fire. What if we could tell everyone that they could get their clothes cleaned by the great-grandson of Thomas Jefferson? Oh, George.
Thursday night at 11 on WCCO television.
Well, it's a great day to end the month of May.
Yes, very good indeed.
Finally made it to the end of... I have a little May flower to show, kind of in celebration of the month of May. This is a typical May flower. It's the wild columbine. At one time, the wild columbine was under consideration to be the official national flower, I think because of its similarity to Columbia columbine.
Okay.
It didn't win out. But
well, it certainly has some great weather to bloom in.
Yes, it does. The sun is shining on the columbine. Sunny and 77 is our present temperature. Humidity at 50%. The wind is from the south at 17, gusting to 24 miles an hour. Barometric pressure at 29.83, and the pressure is falling. So 77, our temperature here in the metro area. 74 at International Falls. That's Hibbing at 72. Redwood Falls at 77. Well, temperatures have climbed into the 80s at East Grand Forks at 83 and 84 at Minot, but there's been quite a drop in temperature at Rapid City. There's a cold front moving through there. It's mostly sunny over the area. There were a few showers in northeastern North Dakota, northwestern Minnesota. It was about 7:30 this morning. Showers may develop in the Dakotas and move into the western part of Minnesota this afternoon. There's just a slight chance that we might get a shower tonight in our Twin Cities forecast. Rather windy in south central and southwestern Minnesota. And cool this morning in the upper airflow in the northwest. A big bubble of warm air over the upper Mississippi Valley. Quite cool from the Ohio Valley to the southeast. 49 cities in the Ohio Valley and to the southeast set or tied minimum temperature records this morning alphabetically from Apalachicola, Florida to Wilmington, North Carolina. It was 34 this morning at Asheville, North Carolina. That's the coldest ever for so late in the season. Here's our forecast across the country. We have a cold front, a few showers in Montana, Utah, Southern California today. Cooler temperatures moving our way. Showers over southern Florida, along the mid-Atlantic, and scattered showers in New England. Flooding continues to be a problem in New Hampshire and parts of Vermont, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. Temperatures in the 60s today, Buffalo, New York, and Spokane in the 80s from Los Angeles through Omaha to Houston, 77 at Jacksonville, Florida. Forecast for the afternoon of sunny. Partly cloudy tonight. We have a chance of showers this evening. We'll go to 84 today, 58 tonight. Southerly winds of 15 to 25 and then 10 to 15 tonight. The forecast for tomorrow is partly cloudy with a chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms, and 80 degrees is forecast for tomorrow. At 84 today. We haven't been in the 80s since last September 28th.
And it sounds wonderful. I know you're not personally responsible, but thank you from the heart.
Take the credit
yes,
anyway?
Take this credit. Okay, thank you, Bud. Bill?
Now still to come in the noon report. The Twins took it on the chin in Beantown last night. Tom Hanneman has the highlights coming up next.
It's a small town, homegrown, made the way you'd make your own pizza. Tombstone.
It's a ladle on and loaded up with lots of mozzarella on the pizza. Tombstone. We pile on the goodness. We're loaded with real cheese. We're sure the taste of Tombstone's gonna please your family. We're a small town, homegrown, made the way you make your own pizza. Tombstone. Made the way you'd make your very own. Tombstone.
In a world of compromise, Cadillac is uncompromising in its commitment to full-size luxury. While Buick and Olds have dropped their full-size cars, Cadillac continues to set the standard you expect in a true luxury car. The Cadillac DeVille and Fleetwood Brougham, now at your Twin Cities Cadillac dealer. In full-size luxury and comfort, Cadillac stands alone.
Brighten your day with everyday low prices on your favorite General Electric housewares. Like GE's food processor, a super work saver that chops, slices, shreds, grates, and even mixes bread dough. GE's Ultra Oven Broiler that bakes, broils, toasts, and more in a space-saving, cool-to-the-touch design. And GE's Space Maker can opener. It easily installs under your cabinet to save counter space.
Now at all Target stores.
Today on Breakaway, you'll see why you don't have to be 18 to win a beauty contest. This is more than that. It's where Mrs. America 1984 will be chosen.
We'll continue our investigation from Washington on where your tax money is going. You may be in for a surprise.
And we'll meet Nancy Dussault and find out who decided to save too close for comfort.
Plus, we'll have a new twist on cooking low-cal, guaranteed to make your mouth water without sacrificing taste.
All this and more today on Breakaway.
This afternoon at 4 on WCCO Television.
The Twins are back in the Twin Cities this afternoon following a soggy, frustrating, and fruitless road trip in Boston. Rain washed out the first 2 games of that trip, but last night the skies cleared just long enough to allow the Red Sox the chance to salvage the third and final game of the series. And they did, thanks to the combined pitching of Bob Ojeda and the great fielding of Jim Rice. This play best summarizes the Twins' performance last night. Mickey Hatcher lines one off the Green Monster, only to be nailed by a perfect Jim Rice peg 15 feet ahead of his destination. What are you going to do? You either laugh or cry. Jim Rice also knocked in both of Boston's runs, the first on a sacrifice fly, and the second via this drive to deep center, his 7th home run of the year. Bob Ojeda took care of the rest, recording his 3rd shutout of the season. Boston 2-0 over the Twins. Incidentally, that gave the Red Sox the first back-to-back shutout performances at Fenway Park in 68 years. Babe Ruth and Dutch Leonard accomplished that feat last in 1916. Twins open a 4-game set with Kansas City tonight at the Metrodome, and it's quite possible Carl Pohlad could become the club's new owner before the end of that series. Pohlad and Calvin Griffith are expected to meet today to complete details for the sale of Griffith's 52% stock of the club. In Anaheim, California last night, a pair of ex-twins led the Yankees to a 10-1 rout of the Western Division leading Angels. California had some problems in the field in this one. In this case, it's Juan Beniquez, who couldn't quite come up with the ball. Roy Smalley had a solo homer last night before Butch Weiniger put one in the seats, a 3-run shot, despite the efforts of Angel right fielder Mike Brown, who you saw fell into the seats himself. So the Twins stay a game and a half behind the Angels in the AL West. Let's switch gears from big league ball now to the high school variety, where it's playoff time. Last night in Section 6AA playoff action, Bloomington Kennedy eliminated Edina, the defending state champs, by a 7-5 margin. Kennedy put that game on ice with a 5-run third. Charles Strack with the key hit of the frame, that 2-run triple. Kennedy knocks off Edina 7-5. The Boston Bruins are the latest team to express interest in North Star forward Dino Ciccarelli. Bruin GM Harry Sinden says he's been interested in Dino for a couple years now, adding that Boston is in great need of an explosive scorer like Ciccarelli, and what team isn't? Sinden expects many other general managers to go after Dino, who is currently sitting in Lou Nanne's doghouse after airing his differences with North Star's head coach Bill Mahoney and Mahoney's defensive style of hockey. And finally, a couple notes. In the French Open today, Chris Everett Lloyd was an easy winner, as was Jimmy Connors, who defeated John Lloyd, Chrissy's husband. The New Jersey Devils are expected to name Doug Carpenter their new head coach today. Lou Vero may get an assistant job there. And finally, a reminder, Game 2 of the NBA playoffs will be televised live tonight on CCO starting at 8 o'clock. Lakers and Celtics, with L.A. holding a 1-0 lead. And Bill, look for the Celtics to win that game, or that series, in 7 games, I think.
Tom, we have just a second, but would Dino perhaps more likely go to New Jersey, as Nanny has indicated, rather than Boston, so we don't hear him coming back at us later?
I don't think we can say at this point. I think Lou is going to wait for the best trade available. I don't think he'll trade him right away.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Tony?
Yes. Well, remember Jan and Dean and their infamous song about the little old lady from Pasadena?
It's the little old lady from Pasadena.
Well, the song is coming back with a new video, but the problem Jan and Dean had was finding a little old lady to play the part. So they held a contest in Pasadena, and the problem became even worse: how to choose between so many promising little old ladies.
Everybody's saying there's nobody meaner than the little old lady from Pasadena. She drives real fast. And she drives real...
She was the winner, and now the video production begins.
That winds it up for today on the Noon Report. We hope you plan to join us once again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Why do we work so hard to make original recipe chicken so special? 'Cause you've got a right to chicken done right. The taste that says with just one bite. It's the one and only Kentucky Fried Chicken. You got a right to chicken done right. It's pressure cooked the Colonel's way and served with fresh buttermilk biscuits.
Original.
That's Kentucky Fried Chicken we do.